So if you're anything like me, you hadn't heard about this knife until, well, I guess if you're like me, this might be your introduction to them. I found out about them because I was scrolling through YouTube and had them pop up of like some World War II knife called an Eck knife. Never heard of it because, I've heard about, the K-bore, the K-bore. I don't know what that is. The K-bar, the Fairborn Sykes, the Smatchet, some of the weirder ones. But I'd never heard about the Eck knife, which was kind of odd because I like knives. So one thing that caught my eye, and I don't know how well you can see it, was like these kind of ridges in the handle. It was fairly straight, but it has like dips in it. I'm like, that seems odd, but not when you look at it, like they're about where your hand goes so it grasps into it. So I kind of watched the video, they talk about it. I'm not going to lie, a lot of the original ones were very ugly. Like improvised garden tool level ugly. But either way, they were apparently at least somewhat popular with soldiers because they were buying them. So this one's based off of one that was like the Mark IV, I think. Most of them I found that those though had a synthetic scales. This is just wood. This is hickory. I can't remember what the original ones were, but they were usually made from scrap metal. So scrap metal and scrap wood because World War II. So that's different. Anyway, one thing that is kind of known for these, the original ones did not have the guard that this one has that I have already bent just playing with it in like 5 minutes I've been out here. Holy shit. Okay, here's a little side tangent that I don't usually go on in these videos. Okay, I do all the time. But one thing I've noticed, all these old metal knives have these very thin, really thin, I don't know how you can see this. This is like 1/8 inch thick steel guards. Most metal knives, the K-bars have them, so many do. I do not like it for this. I like at least 3/16. But either way, not important. Still a very functional knife, just not a good throwing knife, I guess, because I was throwing it. I'm fucking around. I'm out here in the middle of the woods. I'm not in the middle of the woods. The road's just right behind the camera, but right here in the middle of the woods with a knife. I'm going to play with it, obviously. But either way, kind of a cool knife. Supposedly, the guy who designed the handle didn't have a guard, and when he took it to like the military or whoever was deciding to make knives, they questioned that because obviously if you have a guard on there, it stops your hand from sliding forward and then just going around that, and you're having a bad time. Which obviously I think I rarely make knives that don't have a guard of some kind that isn't made for just straight utility. But he said that, you don't need it. Supposedly he greased up his hand, grabbed it, and just drove into the floor as hard as he could. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the stuff talking about this knife that wasn't just straight history sounds like they were trying to give the knife a legend, like the Bowie knives or the K-bars. It just really wasn't working. But either way, it is like a really strong grip. If I hold it tight, and I push it as hard as I can, like it doesn't leave my grip. So I don't know how it would work if it's wet though. But either way, I like the knife handle setup. I might try it with other stuff. But either way, I've been rambling for a while, so might want to get back to the tests and, well, the build video for you guys.
Okay, rough forging's done, and I drew this kind of line to keep everything centered. I was gonna like measure out everything for like the handle and all that, but I'm not gonna lie, it would just be easier to free-handed, I think. Just keep a close eye on things. Got my line marks where the handle guard's gonna be. Honestly, a bigger handle than I'm used to, but I mean, again, I'm basing this off of an actual knife. I'm not gonna lie though, looking at some of like the Mark Ones or whatever, like the very originals, I could probably put just bevels on this and a simple wood handle, and it would probably be better than the ones they were making. As cool as some of these knife designs are, and the concept is great, the originals are, they just look like gardening tools to me. But either way, I'm curious to see how this knife handle works out. So I'm going to basically, I'm not even going to really bother with the angle grinder, at least for the base shape. I'm just going to use my belt sander and just kind of, again, eyeball it that way. Okay, now that I got my blade done, just got to heat treat it real quick. And drill some holes. Still was a little hard to do that, so I was kind of holding off until I get kind of heat cycled a few times. Anyway, so I got my guard here, or what's going to be my guard. Couple holes drilled to just slightly smaller than the tang. The drill bit I had that would have been like perfect, like probably would have drilled out to be exactly what I needed, was broken. So I had to go with the next size down. Anyway, so I'm going to do is just my typical worn out cutting wheel. Cut those out real quick, at least hopefully cut it out. It should be thin enough and wide enough that should cover it. Then go to either file it a little bit, depending on how much you need to do, and then go to the forge and heat up till it fits perfectly. And then of course probably sand it down a little bit so it fits the handle a little bit better. And then from there I just need to put the wood scales on and shape the handle.
quick test. I want to see how well this handle works. Now it's wet. It's not super slippery, but it is wet and my hand's wet. Dead tree, I'm just gonna hold it a little bit from the garden, see if I can just see if it actually works. Yeah, I mean, it's a good grip, but my hand's still slid. I mean, if I do it the proper way, it's not bad, but yeah, I definitely would not trust that without the guard though. The more you know.